Hi there, welcome to the FireRobot demonstration. FireRobot is an extension of the Firefox browser, and it will allow you to create automated test scripts for the verification of web applications, namely in the context of regression testing. It is based on the robot framework and on the Selenium library. Up here on the right, we've got the graphic interface of FireRobot. We can put it on full screen mode also. For the ones familiar with robot framework, you might recognize these three areas or sections: the settings section, the variable section, and the test case section. And up here we've got an HTML console. This console, and in particular this button, will allow us to select several elements of the page under tests at the same time. We will be able to, as you can see, select different types of elements, and they will be the respective HTML will be placed here. When we are in select mode, you'll also notice that we'll get a dashboard on the page under test, not only on the main document, but also on any frame or iframe that is contained on the document. Also, while in select mode, we'll get access to this context menu with a number of options. For the ones familiar with the robot framework, in particular with the Selenium library, you might recognize some of these options. Some of them might look slightly familiar, but let's make some examples. If you go for the browser section, we can go for open browser, and the respective test step will be added here on the test case area. We can go for text verifications. We can go for the page should contain option. All the text verifications for the selected elements are placed here. And let's do something different. Let's go for the page should contain type. In this case, we'll get different types of test steps or keywords added to the text according to the type of element that was selected. We'll get things like page should contain link, page should contain image, page should contain text field, according to the type of elements that we previously selected. Well, let's click escape. With escape, we'll get everything unselected, but we'll keep the select mode on. Let's diverge our attention to the form on the center. We might notice that the form is inside a frame. We must get inside a frame to fill out the form or create the script to fill out the form. To do that, we may select any element inside the frame, or any element that contains the frame, or the frame itself. And once we do that, we can go for the frame, select frame, and we'll get the adequate test step. Now we must fill out the form. We could select each individual input field individually, but it will be pointless and a lot of work. So we can select any element that contains the form and select the fill form as is option. Okay, at this point you might notice that a number of things happened. First, a number of variables was added to our test. Okay, the name of the variable was suggested according to some text in the page that was next to the input. In this case, we got title because in the first text box we had this title text near from the text box. And the value is the value of the input. We might not always accept or appreciate the name of the variable that FireRobot suggests us, so it's not the problem. So we can edit it, press enter, and it will be immediately updated on the test. So let's run this test. At this point we get the command line interface, in this case of Windows, that is opening. Actually running the test will take a little bit more time than creating it, so I can speak about some other subjects. Looking back into the test script, you might notice that the locators that we use to locate the inputs of the form were mostly IDs, and this may not be suitable for every type of a test or every type of web application, because we might be working with some framework that generates dynamic IDs, and so this strategy will not work. Okay, the browser is already opening. with the correct URL. At this point, you will be doing some verifications, and hopefully the form will also load. Okay, and now the form is being filled as the script that we had defined before. Okay, in the background, we can close this. We can go for the test report. This is a standard report from the robot framework. You can see that all the test steps were run and executed successfully. So let's go back to the problem I was mentioning, that IDs may not be suitable for our web application. In this case, we go to the preferences menu. Okay, it's not this is a help menu. In the preferences menu, we get a list of disable locators and a list of enable locators. We can do two things here. We can obviously disable locators that we think were not suitable for our test script, and we can increase or decrease the priority of usage on the locators. So not all of these locators will be suitable for all types of web page elements, but the ones will be used in order of preference. Let's give an example. Let's say we have selected an image, and we are saying here that the alt elements should be used as a locator. But of course, if the image does not have an alt attribute, then the test step will use source, and so on. So you get the general logic of the application. So let's do what we did before, but this time without the usage of the ID and name. Fill form as is. And in this case, the FireRobot created XPath to locate the elements. So let's just run the test again, because it will take us a few moments. Let's look with more attention to the XPath that was created. In this case, let's take our attention to this text box here. The corresponding XPath would be something like, and reading from right to left, the second input of type telephone that follows a label with a text phone number. So this is the general logic on creating XPath or suggesting XPath. It's based on the text of the element or the text of a nearby element. And as you can see, the test was run successfully. So this is basically the same test we did before, but using different locators. As you can see, as we were filling the form, XPath was used. I believe this type of XPath is good because it's readable. You can understand very quickly what is the element that is being mentioned, and it probably is more solid as your web application is being developed and being changed. It will probably not, this XPath will keep being valid, hopefully. Okay, let's just give one more scenario. Let's delete again the part of the test where we fill out the form. And let's imagine we do not want to use all of these variables. Maybe we want to just create one variable for a specific input. And what we can do here is open again the preferences box and disable this option to create variables, but keep the option to use the defined variables to check text and check and fill forms. So these variables will not be used only to fill out the forms, but to verify the forms or verify any text on the page with the page should contain keyword. So in this case, we'll create a variable manually. We'll call it email. And for the value of this variable, we'll use this value here. And again, we'll go into select mode. We'll select the form and do fill form as is. Okay, you might notice that no additional variables were created, but the variable we had created manually was used to fill out the email box. It's something, yeah, it's here, as you can see. So that's another thing you can do, another strategy. Okay, the demonstration is almost finished. Let me just mention some side functionalities. You can obviously save this test into a text file. I'll take the opportunity to mention that at this point, FireRobot is not supposed to be a full IDE. It's just supposed to be a tool to create scripts very fast and eventually export them to your main test project, maybe in RIDE or other kind of IDE that you use. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration, and I hope you will enjoy using FireRobot. As always, suggestions and comments are welcome. Thank you very much.